This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. If you're somebody who's been watching Senior Bowl coverage with a vested interest in the Cleveland Browns specifically, well, you're in the right place and you clicked the right video. I've been down in Mobile for the last few days, and I will be down in Mobile until the practice is finished tomorrow, looking at these prospects with an eye towards what I feel like the Browns would be interested in and what the Browns could use. So what have I seen through 2 days of practice? What players do I feel like are interesting for the Cleveland Browns after 2 days of practice? And there's only one player that pops up like as somebody who deserves to be the first mention, because I feel like they've had one of the better weeks of any prospect here entirely. And it's Roger Rosengarten from Washington. Now, I got his name wrong in my video that I did yesterday. I kept calling him Troy LeFou. He's not. He's Roger Rosengarten. That's who I was referring to in that video. And I think Roger has had a hell of a week. Now, I looked up his college PFF grades, and those are iffy at best. They aren't great. And I haven't been able to go back and watch all of his Washington tape yet. So this is just my evaluation of whatever player that I'm saying of what they've done these few days in Mobile, right? We're just starting the draft process. But Roger Rosengarten, he stacked together 2 good days. I think he does a good job at the tackle position, both sides. He does have a tendency, or he did get beat a couple of times inside by some of the more twitchy guys here at the Senior Bowl. But I think he has he's probably the most well-rounded. Like, I don't see a big glaring flaw when I watch him play. I thought that he was fairly impressive over these last 2 days, and I thought that he had himself another fairly impressive day today at the Senior Bowl. Another tackle that I think is interesting is Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. If you're watching Senior Bowl coverage, I believe he's wearing number 55 in the BYU helmet. He's been interesting to me because I feel like his reps have been fine. I think the one big flaw I've seen in him is that he doesn't really drop his anchor well. The run blocking stuff isn't as impressive as his pass pro stuff here too. So that's been something interesting to see. But his hands are really good. There's been a couple of reps that he's had where he just immediately beat somebody with good hands and good technique there at that offensive line position. And as the weeks go on, once I get back to my main studio and I have access to all the footage that I've been able to record here, I will do some breakdowns on some of these players, so don't worry about that. I'll get in more detail about why I like some of these guys. But yeah, if I'm talking about guys that I liked, guys that I thought played well in these 2 days that popped out to me both days, Roger Rosengarten, Kingsley Suamataia from BYU. Those two, when we're talking about offensive line prospects especially. I thought Javon Foster also had a decent day too, offensive tackle from Missouri. So I'll give him an honorable mention because I don't think he did much on the first day, but I have to double check that. But yeah, those two I think are interesting. Other positions of concern for the Cleveland Browns, running back, right, is one. And I don't think I saw anybody today that's going to be a new feature back or the new Chubb and Hub. Dylan Laub is somebody from New Hampshire that I think he continues to make plays when he's out here. He had a nice little one-handed snag in some drills earlier today. I think in 11-11, he had a nice little run there too in 11-11s. He's a quick guy, super fast, downhill runner, and a good receiver out the backfield. I really want to get a good look at him in pass protection before I go full bore on him. But yeah, he's been somebody that's been interesting to watch. You can't talk about the Cleveland Browns and draft without mentioning interior edge rushers or just edge rushers in general. I thought there were a couple of guys who stood out. Darius Robinson's more of an interior guy. He's a big guy from Missouri. Ohio State fans will recognize him. Thought he had a nice day today. Not a perfect day by any means, but I thought he battled well today. Tavondre Sweat, I didn't really notice him much in that first day. That might have been my own fault. But day two, I made sure I paid attention when Tavondre was out there. Thought he had a fine day. He stacked up well against some double teams. Didn't really blow anything up. He's not the type of guy that's gonna like destroy one-on-ones. And even when he does, it's just like he's just straight up overpowering somebody, which is kind of hard to judge whether it translates against in the NFL because Tavondre Sweat's a big guy, but he's not like a generationally big guy to the point to where you look at him and go, it doesn't matter that he's just doing that. He's going to be able to do that to guys in the NFL. Like he's a regular size big guy, if that term makes any sense. So you wonder if that's going to translate. Had a ton of energy. I think him and another player from Texas A&M and Michael Hall Jr. are probably the energy guys like on the roster. Like those are always the guys getting their squads pumped up, their sides of the ball pumped up. Speaking of Michael Hall, I thought Michael Hall had a great day. He had a couple good reps in day one. And then today, I thought he had one of the better days. He is explosive and quick off the football. Want to see it for day three before I get too excited about it. But yeah, Michael Hall looks like somebody you might want to consider if you're the Cleveland Browns. Tyler Davis, I thought he had a strong day as a run defender. Gabe Hall, who was really good, really good day one, got figured out a little bit. Now he won a couple reps here or there, but he kind of won those reps in a way that was concerning to me. And the reason it was concerning to me is that he kept like day one, he was winning with this inside dip move. And I butchered the name of that, my bad, but I had a blank. He inside rip move, my bad, not a dip move, but he kept winning like with this little inside spin, just trying to go inside all the time. And sometimes that worked, sometimes that didn't. Today, it worked far less than it did. They were pretty prepared for it. And I don't think he had much of a counter. And that's a big concern because like if he can't do that, then that's going to get figured out pretty fast in the NFL. So Gabe, he's a big guy. Not the greatest athlete in the world, but somebody to look at. So Tez Walker and Leggett were two guys that people really wanted more information on. Leggett, he's a bit shorter. I think he came in a bit shorter than expected, and I think even lighter than expected. But if you look at him, he's a good size wide receiver. He's not a big guy, height wise, but he is well built. So that's not size isn't really much of a concern with him. Tez Walker's a little bit different. Tez is a bit more slight, but he's tall. The issue with Tez, like if you don't get a hand on Tez Walker, he's gonna demolish you. Like he's gonna outquick you. He has a good speed, and he usually has good enough hands to be able to come down with whatever football is thrown to him. The thing that I saw pop up a couple of times with Tez is if you can get a good punch on him early in that route or at the top of his turn, he does not necessarily recover from those things well. If you get real physical with him at the point of attack, not the point of attack, but at the point of catch, he doesn't usually catch through that contact. So that's a concern. I don't know if that's a mentality thing or if that's just a pure he needs to get stronger thing. I'm willing to bet that it's a he needs to get stronger thing because nothing about his game suggests that he would not be like he would be not even afraid, because I don't want to even insinuate that any professional level football player would be afraid, but that he would be hesitant to catch in those situations. I don't think that is the case. I think he's just strong. I think he just needs to get strength built up there, which is usual for rookies. But the quickness is there. The athleticism is there. He's a real interesting prospect. I don't know if he gets to the Browns with Browns are picking like 66 or something like that. That's a long fall for him. But that'd be interesting to watch. Brendan Rice is somebody who I would anticipate being there at 66. And, I was watching Brendan Rice today and I had flashbacks to Greg Little because Brendan Rice can sometimes feel like Greg Little because you look at him, you go, oh my goodness, this is a wide receiver right here. And then you watch him like warm up and run a route and you're like, oh, he's quick, and people talk about he's not fast, but he seems to have some game speed stuff going with him. Like he doesn't look slow out there when you watch him run. He looks pretty quick. His change of direction stuff, it looks fine to me. And then the ball gets thrown to him. And it just never looks like how you want it to look. Sometimes it's his fault, sometimes it's not. Like there was a ball that got intercepted that was underthrown on him, but it was a weird adjustment that he made to the football last minute when he's at the point to where he can look at the ball and track it and know it's about to be underthrown, but instead he pushed off and adjusted as if that thing was going to come into his front basket, which to me confused me. Because how does he look at that ball and not think I have to come back to it? He made an attempt to go the opposite way of the ball, which I don't know. Maybe I'm baffled by something that's not that baffling, but it it was unusual to me. I've seen an interception being thrown like that plenty of times. I've seen plenty of different reactions from wide receivers. You don't usually see that one. That's not a great one. Dropped a couple of balls and just, I don't think he has consistent hands, which is shocking. Like this is the son of Jerry Rice, so you would expect the hands that'd be the one thing that kid has. He has all the tools. He has the lineage that'll get you excited. He's a good athlete. Like I really do think he's a good athlete. I know people are saying he's not, but I think he's a good athlete. It's just tracking the ball and catching it seems to be a real problem for him. Maybe that's fixable. Maybe that's not. I don't know. But that seems to be the big problem with him. I watched him and I was like, man, this reminds me a lot of Greg Little. Ricky Personnel was pretty good. Let's see. Roman Wilson balled out today again. I think there was a compete session at the end of practice where they were doing another 11 on 11 to kind of win for the offense or defense. And they chose Roman Wilson to represent them. And he not only won the route against whoever he ran that route against, he went on to get a toe tap completion. So very impressive from Roman Wilson. Hopefully I can insert the video here if older Quincy remembers to do that. Other small things, I thought Brevin Spann-Ford as a blocking tight end had himself a strong performance. Anybody else that I'm forgetting so far? No. So that's my thoughts and my recap of day 2 at the Senior Bowl. I think there are going to be some interesting guys that come out of this. I think the good news for Browns fans is if you're looking for a wide receiver, there's a lot of wide receivers here that could be interesting to the Cleveland Browns. If you're looking for an interior guy, I think there's some guys there for you. Edge guys, not so much. There was one player from Western Michigan I thought was a little bit interesting, but it's not the most attractive edge group that I've seen. But I think that the offensive line group is pretty impressive. I thought you have a couple of tackles here. Wide receiver seems to be pretty deep. There's a running back or two here or there. So there are guys to be had here at the Senior Bowl. Let me know what you thought if you were able to watch the coverage on the NFL Network, or just questions you have in general about the Senior Bowl that you would like me to try to get to in the next video. Let me know all of that down in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.